Focus and pinpoint to one area of enhancement of stock liquidity. And by having those activities all in play will drive greater stock liquidity. Why stock liquidity is important? Privately held banks, regardless of the start date, I work with banks that have been privately held banks that have been in operation well over 100 years. Certainly there has been multiple turns of the shareholder base during that time. However, there are still investors, shareholders that hold large blocks of stock. By having a strong liquidity, that bank can then look to a new investor base to sell that stock to when that, if you will, family trust decides to sell. The key, though, is how to provide privately held community banks liquidity in their stock. That is paramount. I've spoke to many boards over the years, and we read about, we see, yes, there are a lot of mergers and acquisitions. There's reasons for that. One of the reasons, though, that is not often spoke of, but is fact, is that when there's no liquidity in the privately held bank stock, what does the board do? Their objective is always to provide their shareholders, their investors, the best return possible. If that board cannot provide the shareholder liquidity in their stock, then the return is not going to be realized. So Camels focuses on supporting, providing boards, management with tools to help them navigate, if you will, the liquidity issue for their stock. This in itself there's some very fundamental building blocks. Key question is, what is the stock worth of the community bank? Oftentimes, and I mean oftentimes, even within the bank itself, there's not a clear understanding of what the stock is worth. Is it worth the last sale price, trade price of the stock? How is the stock traded is a question that comes up. On the fair market value of the stock, how can that be really communicated to investors? Both investors that are existing shareholders, and the most important is how to communicate the fair market value of the stock to new investors. Camels is here for you. Camelsgroup.com.